Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Zai. I've been gaming for over 30 years and played Quake for over 18 years, and I've now reviewed and used over 70 mice. With all the great ones out there, it's getting harder and harder to choose, so I wanted to make this video to see if I can help you narrow down the choices. I'll make suggestions in this video on my current recommendations, but for an updated list, you can go to my top 40. The link is in the description, and if you want to help support what I do, I'll leave some other links in the description to the mice. Now, when choosing a mouse, it depends what games you're playing. I specialize in first-person shooters, but a lot of those mice work well for MOBAs and RTS as well. The category that's different to the others is MMOs, like World of Warcraft, due to the limited options and specific needs. I've never really played them, but from what people tell me, they want a big, comfortable mouse with a lot of buttons and macro functionality. My favorite so far is the Corsair Scimitar. Comfortable, easy to use buttons, high quality, enjoyable to use for hours, and even has a top sensor in it. The sensor isn't as important, but it's nice to have. The Roccat tie-on is also quite good, other than the sensor. You can also check out the Razer Naga Hex V2, not quite as comfortable in my opinion, but still pretty good. I haven't done a review of that one yet. The Roccat Nith is good for its customization and functionality, and a special mention goes to the Logitech G900. While it isn't the most comfortable mouse or even an MMO mouse as such, it's still the best all-rounder I've ever used. Great for video editing and browsing as well. Plus it's wireless and very responsive. Speaking of wireless, the Roccat Leader looks like it could be a top future choice, coming April 2017, so check my channel for the review when it's available. Now it gets a bit more detailed, because while people mostly go for comfort in MMO, in FPS and even MOBA, many competitive players want aiming and movement ability instead of comfort. A larger mouse might feel more comfortable, but in my experience, you will aim better with a smaller mouse. That's relative to your hand size, of course. The theory is that if you were making a painting and could only use one brush, you'd want something small enough to do the fine details, but not so small that it will cramp your hand. That said, it took me about 3 weeks to adjust to the Razer Diamondback. Then it became one of my best mice for aiming, so you want to find the balance, but also give things a fair chance. As a rough guide, I think the best mouse is 60% as long and wide as your hand, as measured in the pictures. So divide both measurements by 100, multiply by 60, and that's the length and width you should go for. For my hand at 18 by 9 cm, I want a mouse with a base length of about 10.8 cm, and a grip width of about 5.4. I measure the base length on mice because some designs have a lot of extra flair. The length doesn't seem as important though, as long as it's close enough. That's why I still use the Zowie FK2, despite having a 12 cm base length. It's the grip width, the measurement between the fingers that counts more. Still, I aim best with the cooler Master MasterMouse S at the moment, which has dimensions closer to my apparently ideal mouse size. Once they fix the cable on it, I'm going to review it and start using it more. Everything seems fairly good on it, except for that. But all this depends on your grip style too. You might not be able to palm grip a small mouse, and if that's your preferred grip, you might have to go for something slightly larger. Check the size guides in my reviews for further help with that. Weight is also a factor. Generally speaking, most people seem to like under 100 grams. I've heard others like extra weight because it helps steady their aim. It's up to you, but the safer recommendation is a light mouse. When it comes to the button tension, I've found that most are fine in first-person shooters. The buttons are much more important in MOBAs, because of all the clicks. Most people seem happy with Omron switches, despite their tension being different on each mouse. However, I've also heard that some people love the Zowie FK2, despite being Huano switches and harder to click due to the shell. So at this stage, I'm not sure what to recommend you, but the safer choice is just something with Omrons. The good news is, most top mice use Omrons anyway, so you should be fine. Shape is extremely important, but very detailed and subjective, so you're better off just watching my reviews and deciding for yourself. I generally give a tour of the mouse now so you can see the shape. I'm starting to like ambidextrous mice more, as they seem a bit more balanced. I also like comfort grooves in the buttons, and the subtle curves on the sides that make mice easier to pick up. Just find a safe shape, which means it has plenty of room for your fingers, wherever you want to position them. Some mice are over-designed and force your fingers to go in a certain place. The sensor used to be extremely important, but with so many great optical sensors out now, it's almost barely worth mentioning. The only fault I'm seeing is in the tilt slam test, holding the mouse on its side, then slamming it down quickly. This is a rare problem, but some people have a technique that causes it to happen fairly often. You have two choices with this, either correct your technique, or get a mouse with a 3360 or 3330 sensor. The 3988s are also very hard to make it happen with. As for tracking, some people claim they can tell the difference between the 3310, 3988, and 3366, but I can't, and I use the 3310 in my main mouse at the moment, which is the Zowie FK2. So for me, I wouldn't worry about it too much. As long as you get a top optical sensor, you should be fine. The next part of a mouse is to determine what features you want and what you want to pay for it. Do you want software or not? Do you want macro functionality? Do you care about LEDs? I can't answer these questions for you. It's up to you, but I do mention them in the reviews. So all of that might seem like a fair bit of information to remember. So to summarize, you have to think about the game types, decide what game you're most serious about. For size, look for a mouse 60% of the width and length of your hand, weight under 100 grams, Buttons, armor on switches and separate from the shell. Sensor, any of the top opticals, as long as the tilt slam issue doesn't affect you. Fairly comfortable, safe shape, and the features and functionality. Choosing a mouse gets even harder if you play multiple games. Sometimes it's best to just buy 2 mice, but if you want an all-in-one, the Logitech G900 is my top recommendation. It also has G-Shift, which essentially doubles the amount of buttons it has. If you want to get serious about first-person shooters like Counter-Strike, Quake, and Overwatch, and you have hands over 20 by 10 centimeters, then look at the Logitech G403. Also the Zowie EC1A, Zowie FK1, and FK1 Plus, and the Razer Death Adder Elite. I'm still waiting on the new edition of the Scream 1, but that's also worth a look. For hands between medium and large, the SteelSeries Rival 300 is also quite popular, but mostly for hands between 17 and 19.5 centimeters, with a width of about 8 and 9 centimeters. Look at the Zowie EC2A, Zowie FK2, Cooler Master MasterMouse S, and Logitech G303, and the same if your hands are under 17 centimeters, but also the Logitech Pro and Zowie ZA13. The Razer Abyssus V2 is also quite good for aim. For MOBA, I've heard the Razer Death Adder is the top choice, but the best buttons are on the Logitech G303. I'd also say the Logitech G403, but I haven't heard much from the community at the time of making this video, so do some research on that, see what others say. They feel great to me though. I can't really comment on the price, because they always change and they're different for every country anyway. I've seen a lot of mice go on special too, so maybe bookmark the mice you're interested in and buy them when they come down in price. So that's it for this video. Hope it helps you narrow down your choices. Obviously, I don't have time to help each person individually to find the right mouse for them. Just keep watching the reviews until you figure out what's right for you. And if you still can't figure it out, maybe just buy one of the best ones and dedicate yourself to really getting used to it. You can also use my Find a Mouse feature on my website, but that's just a really general guide to give you ideas. I try to do more videos explaining how to get set up for gaming at your best, but for now, just keep trying new things and see what works for you. As always, check the description for links on how to support the channel, subscribe for more reviews and gaming videos, like this one, and I'll catch you in the next.